Coming.
I told him this morning I would have never in a million years when this week started ever thought that something like this was happening. We were supposed to have Taylen Saturday.
Instead, the toddler's great-great-aunt, Theo Brickhouse Sales, is planning his funeral.
Adjusting without them in life is going to be hard.
One day, a big alligator had something in its mouth. A police officer saw it and got closer. The officer shot at the alligator and it let go of what it was holding. It was a little boy named Taylen. We got him back safe. This happened on April 1st, 2023, which is a day called April Fool's Day. People saw scary news on their phones and computers saying things like boy found in alligator's mouth and 2-year-old eaten by gator. Everyone was surprised and scared. At first they thought it was a joke, but it was real and very sad. A man who was fishing found Taylen in the water in a place called St. Petersburg, Florida. This happened just a little while after people started looking for Taylen because he was missing. Where were his mommy and daddy? Did something bad happen by mistake or was it on purpose? We'll tell you the story. You can press a button to subscribe and hear more stories like this. It's a sad and scary story, so be careful when you listen. It all started on the morning of March 30th, 2023. A lady named Lita wanted to talk to her daughter, Pashun, on the phone with video like they did every day. But Pashun didn't answer, and the calls didn't work. Lita got really worried. Pashun was 20 years old and lived in St. Petersburg, Florida. She finished school at Northeast High School in 2021 and did really well, even though it was hard. When she was still in school, she found out she was going to have a baby. But she kept working hard and finished school. In a picture from when she finished school, she was holding her little boy, Taylen, who was born on October 23rd, 2020. She was with her boyfriend, Thomas, who was Taylen's daddy. Thomas wanted to be a music star and make songs. He didn't have a regular job, so Pashun had to do most of the work for their family. Pashun really wanted a good life for herself and her son. She got a job at a store called CVS Pharmacy and worked a lot. She saved up and got a home at a place called Lincoln Shores. It was tough to take care of herself and Taylen, but Pashun was happy with what she did. Taylen was 2 years old and a very nice, happy boy. His family called him Tay because they loved him so much. He liked to wear orange, his favorite color. When his mommy Pashun was at work, Taylen stayed with his grandma or his great aunt. Even though Pashun was super busy, she always called Taylen on the phone with video during her breaks. They were best friends, and Taylen was so excited for her to come home after work. Pashun had only lived in her new home at Lincoln Shores for about a month when Thomas, Taylen's daddy, started coming over more. Thomas didn't have a job, but things seemed okay until the end of March. On Wednesday, March 29th, Pashun had a big party at their home for Thomas's 21st birthday. Friends and family came, and everyone had fun. They all said bye that night, and it looked like everything was good. But the next morning, something went very wrong. Pashun's mommy and aunt kept calling her, but she didn't pick up. They got scared because that wasn't normal. The aunt went to Pashun's home at Lincoln Shores to check on her. When she got there, she saw something really spooky. There was blood on the ground near Pashun's blue car, and it went all the way to her door. The aunt knocked and banged on the door, but nobody answered. She was so worried that she asked a worker there to help. They saw the blood and agreed to open the door. What they saw inside was so scary they couldn't believe it. There was blood all over, like a big fight happened. In the bathroom, they found Pashun, but she wasn't alive anymore. Someone had hurt her really bad with a knife a lot of times. The worst part, little Taylen was gone. They couldn't find him anywhere. Did someone take him? Was he okay? Or did something awful happen to him too? Everyone was asking these big questions, and they started looking for Taylen right away. When the police got to Lincoln Shores, they knew they had to find 2-year-old Taylen fast and keep him safe. They saw something bad had happened to Pashun, but first they wanted to make sure Taylen was okay and not hurt too. They sent out a big message called an Amber Alert to tell everyone Taylen was missing. Soon, lots of people, the police, and even the FBI started looking for him. Thomas, Taylen's daddy, was the last person with Pashun and after the birthday party, so the police really wanted to talk to him. They hoped Thomas took Taylen somewhere safe and that the bad thing happened to Pashun after they left. If Thomas didn't do anything wrong, maybe Taylen was still okay. Thomas's mommy's house was only 20 minutes away by car. Maybe he went there with Taylen. At the same time, the news people started telling everyone about it. They said, a little 2-year-old boy named Taylen Mosley is missing. You can see his picture on the screen. This happened at Lincoln Shores on 4th Street North. The police found his mommy, Pashun, and she was dead. Taylen is gone right now, and we're showing his picture again. The police think he might be in danger. They say someone took him, and they're looking for him everywhere. The police went to Thomas Mosley's mommy's house to find him. His mommy said he came there the night before around 9:15 p.m. with cuts on his arms and hands. He had gone to a place called St. Anthony's Hospital. When the police saw Thomas, they noticed the cuts looked like ones you get when a knife slips while hurting someone. They weren't cuts from trying to stop a fight. When the police asked Thomas questions, he didn't want to talk and asked for a lawyer instead. He didn't have Taylen with him and wouldn't tell them where Taylen was, which made them really worried and made them look harder for the little boy. The police said, "We need to talk to the daddy again. We want to know where Taylen is. If the daddy knows, we want him to tell us. We just want Taylen safe." While the police talked to Thomas, lots of helpers like people in helicopters, flying robots called drones, and dogs that sniff things looked all over St. Petersburg to find Taylen. They really wanted to find him fast. Taylen's family talked to everyone, asking for help. They said, "Taylen is a super sweet boy. He's always smiling and laughing. He loved his mommy so much and she loved him more than anything. Please help us find Taylen. We already lost Pashun, and we can't lose Taylen too. Somebody knows something. Don't stay quiet, tell us." Everyone kept looking really hard for Taylen Mosley. People who swim underwater checked the canals and lakes nearby, and a special dog from another place came to help sniff him out. The police looked inside Pashun's car, and a big truck took away the trash bin from her home to see if there were any clues. Teams of people worked all night without stopping, and lots of neighbors joined in to help find Taylen. One neighbor said, "A little kid is missing, and his mommy is gone. It's so sad and scary. Why do bad things happen? It's just terrible." While the police were checking Pashun's home, some neighbors said they heard loud sounds around 8:15 p.m. on Wednesday night. They thought something was wrong, but it didn't seem bad enough to call the police. The search went on all day Friday, but they couldn't find Taylen. Then, late that evening, something big happened. A man named Lytle Golden was fishing at Lake Maggiore, a place close to Thomas's mommy's house in Delholmes Park. That lake has lots of big alligators, so seeing one didn't scare Lytle at first. But then he saw the alligator holding something big in its mouth, and he got a bad feeling. He knew it wasn't just a thing, it was a person. People were already looking nearby, so Lytle waved them over fast. When they got close, they saw the alligator had a little kid who wasn't moving. A police officer shot the alligator in the head and it let go. The police pulled the kid out of the water, and it was so sad they found out it was Taylen Mosley, the 2-year-old they were looking for. What did people feel when they saw a kid in the alligator's mouth after the police shot it? I don't know exactly. Imagine if you saw that, especially a police officer seeing a little kid like that. How would you feel? What would you think? The officer had been working hard since Wednesday, and then they saw Taylen in the alligator's mouth. They had to keep doing their job, even though it was really tough. I bet they felt lots of big feelings inside, but they still had to help. The police started looking closely at Taylen's daddy, Thomas Mosley. He had gone to St. Anthony's Hospital because he had lots of cuts on his arms and legs. The police thought something bad was going on, but they needed more clues before they could take him away. By April 1st, people saw scary news on their phones and computers with words like "boy found in alligator's mouth," "2-year-old eaten by gator," and "missing kid found in alligator's jaws." At first, some people thought it was a mean trick, but people who know about Florida's animals weren't so surprised. Alligators sometimes attack pets or little kids, but what happened to Taylen was so awful that everyone felt shocked and sad. Everyone wanted to know how Taylen got into the lake. Was he still alive when he went in? So the police went back to Pashun's home to look for more clues. They found some. In the bathroom where Pashun was, they saw bloody footprints with a special Gucci mark, showing the bad person wore Gucci shoes. Under a bed, they found a cleaning bottle with blood and fingerprints on it. When they checked, those fingerprints were Thomas Mosley's. They also looked at Pashun's phone and saw where it went. It left her home around 8:30 p.m. On Wednesday, showed up near Lake Maggiore, and then went to Thomas's mommy's house by 9:15 p.m. After that, Thomas went to the hospital for his cuts. All these clues helped the police catch Thomas and say he did 2 very bad things. They said he hurt Pashun and Taylen on purpose. The big police boss in St. Petersburg talked to everyone and said, "Thomas Mosley, Taylen's daddy, is in big trouble now. We're saying he did 2 really bad things by hurting Pashun and Taylen. Pashun was hurt with a knife lots of times. We don't know yet how Taylen died until the doctor checks him." After the police caught Thomas Mosley on Friday night, they found out more scary things from a special paper called an affidavit. The police boss had said Pashun was hurt with a knife a lot, but the paper said it was more than 100 times. That's really, really bad and shows how awful it was. For Taylen, they weren't sure how he died at first. The paper said he was thrown into the lake, and people wondered, was he still alive when Thomas threw him in, or was he already gone? The doctor who checks bodies said Taylen was alive when he went into the water, but the alligators didn't hurt him. His body was okay with no bites or cuts. They said he died because he couldn't breathe in the water. It's called drowning. On Saturday, right after they caught him, Thomas went to court and said he didn't do it. A man named Brian Camerino, who helps people in court, said, "It's hard to help Thomas unless he has big problems with his head or isn't thinking right." He said the court might take 2 years, because it's a tricky case. When someone asked if there were enough clues to show Thomas did it, he said, "The many knife marks, the cuts on Thomas when he went to the hospital, and Taylen dying, all these things show he meant to do it. I think they can prove he's guilty." Thomas is in big trouble for 2 very bad things they say he did. Brian Camerino said Thomas's helpers in court might try to make a deal so he doesn't get the worst punishment, like being put to death. He said, "If I were helping him, I'd try to stop the big court fight and say he'll stay in jail forever or for 50 years. Even 50 years is like forever, but it's not as scary as the big punishment and a long, long fight in court." We don't know a lot about Thomas or what he's like, but we found his YouTube page. He had over 1,000 people watching him and made 57 videos. In those videos, he showed off lots of money, held big weapons, and smoked stuff like it was a game. The words in his songs were super hard to understand, like a secret code that didn't make sense. They were all mixed up and crazy, and it made us think maybe the police were right when they said Thomas might have problems in his head. A police officer who saw him at the hospital said Thomas acted like he had big troubles with his thinking. Usually police don't say that, unless something really strange is going on. This makes us wonder if Thomas's helpers might say in court that he wasn't thinking right when it all happened. In Florida, they can punish people really bad for doing what Thomas did, like making them die. So his helpers might try hard to stop that from happening. There was another boy named Aiden Fucci who said he wasn't thinking right, but people didn't believe him because it seemed fake. What did Thomas do that made the police say he might have had problems so soon? Was it real, or just a trick to not get in trouble? Another idea could be that Thomas got hurt too, but the police said no, the clues don't show that. It's weird that Thomas went straight to the hospital after doing something so bad. Usually people who do that try to hide, not go where they might get caught. His cuts must have been really bad, or maybe he wanted to stay away longer. He stayed in the hospital from Wednesday night to Friday night before the police took him, so his hurts were probably big. Some people online think Thomas planned this to happen after his 21st birthday party, like a mean way to celebrate. They say waiting until after the party, taking Pashun's phone, and not running away means he thought it out. Hurting Pashun more than 100 times with a knife shows he was super mad, not just upset for a second. Even if he got mad at Pashun, what he did to Taylen after seems cold and on purpose. The scariest part is how he threw Taylen into a lake with alligators, like throwing away trash. He probably didn't want anyone to find Taylen. If a fisherman named Lytle Golden hadn't been there at the right time, we might still be looking for Taylen. It's awful to think what could have happened if they didn't find him okay. Now, Taylen can rest peacefully, and finding him helps the police make sure Thomas gets in trouble for what he did. Something special happened. Lytle, the fisherman, found out Pashun might be part of his big family, but from far away. He said it was really hard for him, especially because he has a kid the same age as Taylen. He thinks it wasn't just luck that he was there to find Taylen, it felt like God made it happen. Pashun's family is still waiting and hurting a lot, because they want Thomas to get in trouble for what he did to Pashun and Taylen. In October 2023, a judge said Thomas couldn't go to court yet, because his head wasn't okay. 2 doctors who helped the court checked him and said he should go to a special hospital in a place called Chattahoochee to get better. The judge said, Thomas isn't ready for court now, but he can get better. In 2024, they checked him more, but when we made this story, we didn't know about how he's doing or if the case changed. A smart person named Anthony Rickman, who knows a lot about court stuff, said Thomas probably won't ever be free, even with what's happening now. He said, right now, Thomas isn't okay in his head, so he's going to the hospital to fix that. This isn't about him saying he was crazy when he did it. It just means he can't help in court yet, because he's not thinking right. It's a step to make sure he's better before the big court day. Thomas's family hasn't said anything yet, but Pashun's family has been brave and told everyone how sad they are. One of them said, "I want people to remember Pashun and Taylen as two kids who really, really loved each other." The hardest thing for Pashun's family is thinking about how much Pashun and Taylen hurt before they were gone. They said, "I worry all the time about how they suffered. When I close my eyes at night, that's all I can see, their pain. But it feels good that everyone around us is giving us big hugs and helping us." It might take a long, long time, maybe years, before Thomas goes to court. Lots of people hope he'll just say he did it soon, so Pashun's family and friends don't have to hear all the sad and scary stuff again in court. Right now, we're waiting to learn more, like things about Thomas's life before, or if there were signs this might happen. What do you think about this story? We think Thomas did these awful things for sure. Do you think he might have been sick in his head? We don't think someone could just get mad and do all this so carefully. If he wasn't thinking right, why didn't he keep Taylen safe or take him somewhere good? It seems mean and planned out. Also, it's confusing. Thomas wanted to be a famous music star, so why would he ruin everything with something so bad? Maybe he was upset because his music didn't work out and thought nothing mattered anymore. We don't know yet why this happened because we need more about how he was with Pashun or if he was mean before. No matter what we find out later, one thing is true: Pashun and Taylen need justice. Pashun worked so hard to make a happy life for her and her little boy. It's super sad that they both got taken away in such a bad way. If you like this story, you can look at more on our channel. Press the subscribe button, share it, and follow us so you don't miss new stories. Do you have a story you want us to tell? Tell us in the comments. Stay safe, and see you next time.